The Grand Hall of Orion Prime was vast, taller than any building on Earth. Its walls shimmered with a pale blue light, and the ceiling was so high that no one could see it clearly. Hundreds of alien delegates filled the chamber, their shapes and colors strange and unfamiliar. Some had long limbs, some had no limbs at all, and some floated above the floor. Each of them whispered to one another, their voices a mix of clicks, hums, and tones humans could barely hear. At the center of the hall, a long table stretched nearly half the room. At the head sat Kalen Thrix, the Zirath ambassador. His 3 eyes scanned the room, calm but tense. Today was not an ordinary meeting. Today was urgent. The news had come from the outer sectors that humanity had refused every treaty offered by the Galactic Council. Every treaty. Every single one. The aliens could not believe it. Ambassadors, delegates, Kalen began, his voice firm, echoing slightly in the hall. We face a threat unlike any we have seen. Humanity refuses to cooperate. They will not accept trade agreements, defense pacts, or territorial limits. They continue to expand into neutral zones. They ignore our warnings. They defy us openly. A murmur ran through the room. The Council had faced aggressive species before. The Trelkin of Sector 9 had been violent and proud, but they always followed the Council's rules when threatened. The Vornari had been unpredictable, yet they still signed pacts. Humanity was different. Humanity refused everything. From the entrance, 2 humans stepped forward. They were the representatives of Earth, the only planet in the galaxy that had never fully joined any interstellar alliance. Evelyn Hart walked first. She was tall for a human, with sharp eyes that seemed to see through the hall's grandeur and the fear in the aliens' expressions. Behind her was Colonel Jason Ward, a man of few words and strong presence. His military uniform was plain, but it carried authority. Every alien in the room could feel it. Kalen's 3 eyes focused on Evelyn. Representatives of Earth, he said. Do you not understand the danger you place yourselves in? You face a council of hundreds of worlds. To reject every treaty is to invite chaos, to invite war. Evelyn spoke calmly. Her voice carried over the hall, clear and strong. We understand perfectly. We understand what you are asking. But humanity will not be ruled by fear disguised as peace. We will not sign chains disguised as agreements. We will not surrender our freedom. Jason stood silently next to her, arms crossed, his eyes scanning the room. Every delegate turned to look at him. There was a quiet confidence in him, a calm strength that reminded them of Earth's wars in the old files. Wars that were deadly, yes, but fought with strategy, courage, and heart. A Vornari delegate hissed in disbelief. They speak as if they have already won. They are weak. How can such a primitive species defy hundreds of advanced civilizations? Evelyn's gaze did not falter. Primitive? Perhaps you judge us by your standards, but we have survived floods, plagues, wars, and devastation. We have survived when every other species would have failed. We know our strength. We know our limits. And we will never be controlled. A silence fell over the hall. Kalen Thrix leaned back slightly, his fingers drumming on the table. He had dealt with defiant species before, but none like this. Humanity was not asking for mercy. Humanity was not begging. They were not even negotiating. They were stating their rules. One of the delegates, a tall being with silver skin and multiple eyes, spoke sharply. And what if we do not accept your terms? What if we decide to enforce the Council's will? Jason finally spoke. His voice was low but carried power. Then you will see why humans are not so easily controlled. We will defend our freedom. We will defend our people. And we will adapt to anything you throw at us. The aliens shifted uneasily. Some had studied human history, but the files were incomplete. They knew humans had fought wars, yes, but they had not seen the full story. Humans had survived disasters that should have wiped them out. They had built civilizations faster than almost any species, and now they were standing before the Council, calm, defiant, unafraid. Kalen Thrix took a deep breath. Evelyn Hart, Colonel Ward, are you aware of what you risk? Your refusal may trigger sanctions. Your colonies may be cut off. Your fleets may be attacked. Your people may die. Evelyn's eyes met his. We are aware. We have always known the risks. But freedom has a price. Our people are ready to pay it. We will not trade our liberty for false security. We will not surrender our future for temporary comfort. Humanity has always faced challenges, and we have always overcome them. A murmur ran through the alien delegates. Some whispered fearfully to one another. Others shook their heads in disbelief. Kalen could see the panic beginning to rise. Humanity had never been predictable. Humans had fought wars against themselves and survived. They had reached the stars and survived. And now, they refused to bow to the council. One of the younger delegates, a small green-skinned creature with sharp teeth, hissed, "Do they even understand the power we command? We have fleets that can destroy planets. We have weapons beyond their comprehension, and they stand there and speak as if they are safe?" Jason smiled faintly, almost to himself. "We understand perfectly, and that is why we stand here, because we know what you do not. We do not fear you, and we will not kneel." The council chamber was quiet again. Kalen's eyes darted around the room. Panic was spreading among the delegates. They had underestimated humanity. The whispers grew louder. The council historian Drin Velor, who had studied human history, muttered to himself, "They are not like the others. They do not break. They do not yield. And they never forget." Evelyn noticed the shift. She turned slightly toward Jason and whispered, "They are afraid of us." Jason nodded. "And they should be, not because we seek war, but because we are human, and humans cannot be controlled." Kalen Thrix tried to regain control. "Representatives of Earth, you will face isolation. You will be blocked from trade, from travel, from interstellar aid. You may find yourselves alone." Evelyn lifted her head and looked directly at him. "We are already alone, and we have survived worse. Isolation does not scare us. Threats do not scare us. Only chains scare us, and we will never be chained." The words hung in the air. The delegates looked at one another, sensing the weight behind them. Humans had always been underestimated. They were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most technologically advanced, but they were relentless. They were unpredictable. And now they were standing as equals, or perhaps as a warning. Drin Velor finally spoke, his voice trembling slightly. "They are not bluffing. They mean what they say. They have survived the impossible. They have grown faster than any record shows, and now they refuse us. Every one of us. Every treaty. They refuse every treaty." Kalen Thrix's 3 eyes narrowed. He had faced countless threats in his long life. He had seen empires fall, species die, and alliances crumble. But nothing like this. Humanity was not negotiating. Humanity was not fearing. Humanity was standing tall and daring the galaxy to act. Evelyn and Jason turned to leave the hall. Their message had been delivered. Humanity's refusal was clear, and the aliens could feel it in their bones. Panic was spreading. Fear was settling in like a shadow. As the humans departed, whispers followed them. "They are dangerous. They are reckless. They are unstoppable." Jason glanced back at the council one last time. "Let them panic," he said quietly. "We do not fear them. We never have." Evelyn smiled faintly. "Let them learn what humans are willing to do for freedom. That is the only lesson they need." Outside the hall, the stars of Orion Prime shone cold and distant. The galaxy was vast, but humanity's presence was growing, and for the first time in the Council's history, a single species had refused every treaty and lived to tell the story. In the outer corridors, Kalen Thrix whispered to Drin Velor, "We cannot ignore them any longer. They are not like any other species. If we do not act carefully, we will regret it." Drin Velor nodded. "They are not just defiant. They are dangerous, and we cannot understand them." "Not fully. Not yet." Back on Earth, Evelyn and Jason returned to their command center. The people of Earth were watching, waiting. They did not know if the Council would retaliate or negotiate, but they trusted Evelyn and Jason. Humanity would survive, as it always had, and it would face the galaxy with courage, defiance, and unity. The first sparks of panic had begun to ripple through the stars. The galaxy would never forget Earth's message. Humans do not bend, do not yield, and do not forget. And so the stage was set. Humanity had refused every treaty. The Council was in panic, and the galaxy was about to learn that some species cannot be controlled. The Galactic Council's chambers were unusually quiet the day after the human representatives left. The delegates lingered in small groups, murmuring in worried tones. Even the usually confident Kalen Thrix seemed unsettled. The reports they had received from their spies and observers were troubling. Humans were not just refusing treaties, they were expanding, building fleets and fortifying colonies. They were moving with purpose but without fear. Drin Velor, the council historian, paced slowly in his office, his many eyes focused on the data floating in front of him. The files showed centuries of human history, Wars, famines, plagues, and disasters. Every time humans had recovered, every time they had grown stronger, every time they had survived. They do not operate like other species, Drin said softly, almost to himself. They learn faster. They adapt faster. And when they refuse, they do so with a confidence we cannot break. Kalen Thrix entered, his 3 eyes narrowing. Do you truly believe it is possible to stop them? Drin shook his head slowly. I do not know if it is possible. They are unlike any species I have ever studied. And I have studied many. They do not fear like others do. They do not submit. They are relentless. Kalen let out a quiet sigh. And yet we must try. The Council cannot allow a single species to defy hundreds of others, not without consequences. Meanwhile, on Earth, Evelyn Hart and Colonel Jason Ward reviewed the Council's messages. The communications were filled with threats veiled as requests. The Council demanded explanations, assurances, and compliance. Evelyn read the words aloud to Jason. They want us to sign agreements that limit our growth, control our colonies, and share our technology, she said. They speak of cooperation, but it is control. Chains disguised as peace, Jason nodded. And they expect us to bend. To trust species that have tried to exploit us in the past, no, we cannot do that, not now, not ever. Evelyn turned her gaze to the window overlooking Earth's orbital fleet. Ships moved in formation, silent and precise. They were human-built, but unlike any fleet the Council had seen. Their design was functional, efficient, and capable of adaptation. Every engineer, pilot, and soldier had been trained not just to fight, but to survive. They fear us, Evelyn said quietly, and they should. Not because we seek war, but because we are human. They do not understand what that means. Jason allowed himself a small smile. It is not fear of our ships. It is fear of our spirit. They see it in our eyes even from millions of miles away. That is why they panic. Back in the Council chambers, panic was growing. Reports from distant sectors told of human colonies moving into previously restricted areas. Trade routes were being established without approval. Communication signals were being redirected through human satellites. The Council delegates whispered in fear and disbelief. They are advancing too quickly, one alien delegate said. They are unpredictable. They refuse every agreement. And now they are moving into sectors we thought were safe. Another delegate, tall and armored with green scales, hissed angrily. They cannot be allowed to continue. If we do not act, they will surpass us in power. They will not respect our laws. They will not bow to our council. We must strike now. Kalen Thrix stood and raised a hand. Patience. We must understand them before we act. If we strike blindly, we risk war we cannot control. We must study them. We must learn their strengths and weaknesses. Drin Valor nodded. Agreed. I will continue the review of Earth's history. Perhaps there is a pattern we can use to predict their next move. But even as Drin spoke, he knew it would not be easy. Humans had survived disasters that seemed impossible. They had rebuilt after nuclear war. They had fought off plagues that destroyed billions. They had even recovered from environmental collapse, and they had done it without the aid of the Council. They are not like other species, Drin muttered. They are unpredictable, dangerous and brilliant in ways we cannot fully measure. Meanwhile, Evelyn and Jason began planning their next steps. They knew the Council would not stop at words. Eventually, they would try to coerce, threaten, or attack. Humanity had to be ready. Jason pointed to a star map. We need to prepare our colonies. We need to strengthen communication and defense. If the Council acts, it will not be limited to words. They will try to control or worse, destroy. Evelyn nodded. And we must also prepare to teach the galaxy what humans are capable of. Not through war, but through survival, intelligence, and unity. They must understand that humanity does not bend. Humanity does not yield. Humanity never forgets. In the Council chambers, debates grew more heated. Some delegates called for immediate sanctions. Some called for a show of force. Others warned that humans were unlike anything the galaxy had ever faced. They will not comply, Drin Valor said, and when they refuse, it is not rebellion. It is principle. They do not sign treaties because they do not fear consequences. That is why they are dangerous. That is why we must respect them carefully. Kalen Thrix rubbed his temples. Respect is not enough. We must prepare, but preparation is difficult. We do not know their limits. We do not know how far they will go. And yet, they continue to expand, to grow stronger, to defy us at every step. Back on Earth, Human engineers worked tirelessly. They upgraded fleets, improved defense systems, and shared knowledge between colonies. Every new development was designed with one goal in mind: survival. Not conquest, not domination, but survival. Evelyn walked among the engineers, observing their work. "They think we fear them," she said quietly to Jason. "But we do not. We respect their power, yes, but fear, no. We do not fear anyone who seeks peace without chains." Jason nodded. "And they will learn that soon enough. Humanity is not bound by treaties. Humanity is bound by principles. And when we act together." The council grew desperate. They sent fleets to observe human movements, hoping to intimidate or slow them down. But the humans responded not with fear, but with intelligence. Their fleets adapted to every maneuver. Their colonies prepared for every possibility. And their diplomats met every demand with calm, measured responses. Drin Velor studied the transmissions from the observing fleets. "Every encounter strengthens them," he said. "Every attempt to control them teaches them. They are learning faster than we are. And we cannot keep up." Kalen Thrix sighed. "Then we must consider all options. Diplomacy has failed. Observation is failing. We may have no choice but to confront them directly." On Earth, Evelyn and Jason continued their preparations. They knew confrontation might come, but they also knew humans had faced worse. They had survived wars, plagues, and environmental collapse. They had survived alien threats before, and they would survive again. Jason looked at the stars. "They think they can scare us. They think they can control us. But they do not understand who we are. Humans survive. Humans adapt. Humans never give up. And when necessary, humans fight with everything they have." Evelyn nodded. "The galaxy will learn this lesson. Not through fear. Not through domination. But through the strength of our spirit. The strength that has carried humanity through centuries. The strength that refuses to bow." Drin Velor reported his findings to the council. "Humans are unpredictable, resilient, and highly adaptive. They have survived every disaster and every war. Their refusal of treaties is not weakness. It is strategy, intelligence, and principle. They are extraordinary." Kalen Thrix leaned back in his chair. "And terrifying." The council could no longer ignore the truth. Humans were not merely a rebellious species. Humans were a force the galaxy had underestimated. Every failed treaty, every defiance, every colony expansion proved one thing: humans were not bound by the same rules as other species. On Earth, Evelyn and Jason prepared their people. They strengthened defenses, trained fleets, and shared knowledge. Humanity did not seek war. Humanity did not seek conquest. Humanity sought freedom. And as the council debated, panicked, and unsure, humanity moved forward calm, deliberate, and unyielding. Every step they took, every decision they made reminded the galaxy of a truth long ignored. Humans survive. Humans adapt. Humans endure. And humans refuse to be controlled. The council watched, fearful and amazed. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, and for the first time the council understood that the humans' refusal was not defiance born of foolishness. It was defiance born of strength, courage, and an unbreakable will. And so, the stage was set. Humanity would not bend. Humanity would not yield. Humanity would continue to grow, to adapt, and to survive. And the galaxy would have to decide how to deal with a species that refused every treaty, yet did not seek destruction. Weeks passed since the Council had realized the humans would not sign any treaties. The Galactic Council decided to send a delegation to Earth's orbit. They hoped diplomacy might still work. If they could speak face-to-face with humans, perhaps a compromise could be reached. The delegation was led by Lyra Knox, a diplomat known for her calm voice and careful words. She believed that understanding humans required patience and humility. Lyra's ship glided silently into Earth's orbital space. The massive space station, Horizon, loomed ahead. Its design was simple, functional, and unlike any council vessel. It was made by humans for humans. No unnecessary decorations, no strange alien engineering, just efficiency. Lyra felt a small shiver of unease. Humans had a way of surprising visitors. Inside Horizon, Evelyn Hart and Colonel Jason Ward were waiting. Their posture was calm but alert. The station had been reinforced, communication channels secured, and fleets were ready nearby. The humans did not panic. They did not act hastily. They were prepared. Lyra entered the meeting room. She had expected tension, but the humans' confidence made her nervous. She had studied them from afar. She had read reports of their wars, their resilience, and their refusal to bow to threats. Yet standing before Evelyn and Jason, she realized she had underestimated them. Representatives of Earth, Lyra began carefully. I come on behalf of the Galactic Council. We hope to discuss possibilities for cooperation, trade technology sharing, defense pacts. We believe that working together is the best path for all species. Evelyn nodded politely. We have read your proposals, and we understand what you offer. But we do not see these offers as cooperation. We see them as attempts to control us, to bind us with rules that do not serve our people. Freedom is not negotiable, Jason spoke next. Every treaty you have offered carries limits, restrictions, and hidden clauses. Every treaty expects us to give more than we receive. We cannot and will not accept that, Lyra paused. She had expected resistance, but not this direct defiance. You must understand, she said softly, that the Council does not wish to harm humanity. We seek peace. Surely there is a middle ground. Evelyn's eyes narrowed slightly. Middle ground requires trust. How can we trust those who have tried to exploit our planet, our colonies, and our people in the past? How can we trust a council that pretends to offer peace while imposing chains? Jason stepped closer to Lyra. His voice was calm but firm. Do you know the history of Earth? Do you know what your predecessors did under the guise of treaties and trade? Humans suffered greatly. We learned, and we will not make the same mistake twice. Lyra felt her heart race. She had studied humans, yes, but seeing their eyes, hearing their voices, made her understand their strength. They were not bluffing. They were not fearful. They were unwavering. You speak as if we wish to enslave you, Lyra said, struggling to remain composed. We offer friendship, protection, and knowledge. We do not wish to bind you. We wish to help. Evelyn shook her head. You offer what you call help. But help from those who control is not help. Humans understand kindness. Humans understand alliances built on equality. But treaties that expect obedience, we cannot accept them. We will not accept them, Jason added quietly. Your council speaks of peace, but every treaty you sent was born of fear. You fear what humanity could become. You fear our independence, and that is why you act as you do. Lyra was silent for a moment. She had not expected such honesty. Her species often hid fear behind polite words. Humans did not hide. They did not lie. They spoke plainly, and their words carried weight. You are right, Lyra admitted finally. The council fears what humans might do. But must fear lead to defiance? Must fear lead to conflict? Evelyn leaned forward slightly. Fear does not lead us. Knowledge does. Experience does. Humans know what it is to lose everything and rebuild. Humans know what it is to survive. We will not surrender that knowledge for comfort. That is why we refuse every treaty. Not out of malice. Not out of recklessness. Out of principle. Lyra looked down at the table. She had expected negotiation, maybe even some compromise. But humans refused to compromise when it came to their freedom. She realized that words alone would not sway them. Actions might perhaps, but humans had already proven their resilience. Jason stood silently, his gaze fixed on Lyra. He was not threatening, but his presence was commanding. Humans did not have the most advanced fleets or weapons in the galaxy, but they had determination, they had courage, and they had strategy. Lyra understood that fully now. Then what is your plan? Lyra asked softly. If you refuse all treaties, refuse all agreements, what will you do? Evelyn smiled faintly. We will do what humans always do. We will survive. We will protect our people. We will expand where we can, learn where we must, and defend where necessary. And we will wait. Wait for the galaxy to understand that humans are not easily controlled. Lyra felt a chill. Her mission had been to secure cooperation. She had failed. The humans had shown her the same calm defiance that had rattled the Council. She knew now that the Council had underestimated Earth. I will report your words, she said finally. But understand this. The Council may act. They may not wait. They may attempt to force compliance, Jason shrugged slightly. Then they will see why humans survive, and why humans do not bend. Lyra left the room, her mind heavy. She had seen many species, faced many challenges, but none like this. Humans were different. Not just clever, not just resilient, but fearless in ways that the galaxy could not predict. Back on Earth, Evelyn and Jason prepared for whatever might come next. They strengthened fleets, reinforced colonies, and trained soldiers. Every action was measured, every move calculated. Humans did not rush blindly. They planned carefully. They acted decisively. Across the galaxy, the Council received Lyra's report. Panic began to spread. The humans had not begged. They had not feared. They had refused every treaty, and they had done so with calm confidence. Some delegates called for sanctions, others for immediate military action. Yet a few whispered fearfully, "They are not like the others. They are not weak. They cannot be controlled. We must be careful." Kalen Thrix listened to the council debates, his fingers tapping nervously on the table. Humanity was growing stronger by the day. Their fleets were efficient, their colonies expanding, and their leaders unshakable. The more he learned, the more panic crept into his mind. "They do not fear us," he whispered to Drin Velor. "They do not bow. They do not plead. They are different, and it terrifies me." Drin nodded slowly. "They are extraordinary. Their refusal of every treaty is not rebellion. It is principle, and principle backed by intelligence, strategy, and courage cannot be ignored." On horizon, Evelyn watched the stars. Every twinkling light represented a world, a species, a potential threat or ally. Yet she felt calm. Humans were not reckless. Humans were prepared. The galaxy might try to contain them, frighten them, or attack them. But humanity had faced worse. Jason joined her, looking at the fleets below. "They think silence will scare us, that isolation will break us. But humans are patient. Humans endure. And humans will show the galaxy that freedom is not negotiable." Evelyn nodded. "They fear what they do not understand. And that is their weakness. They underestimate what it means to be human. They forget that we survive, adapt, and endure. They forget that humans never give up." In the council chambers, debate raged. Some delegates wanted to attack immediately, fearing human expansion. Others wanted to wait, studying human history and movements. Every faction understood the same truth. Humans were unpredictable, resilient, and intelligent. Every decision made by the council had consequences, and the humans' defiance was changing the galaxy's balance of power. The council historian, Drin Velor, concluded his report. "Humans refuse treaties not because they are foolish. They refuse because they have learned, suffered, and endured. They do not fear consequences. They act on principle. And they will not be controlled by any council, any fleet, or any species. They are dangerous, but not because they seek war. Dangerous because they refuse to submit." Kalen Thrix sighed. "Then we must prepare for the worst. Humanity does not negotiate. Humanity does not bend, and the council cannot predict their next move." Back on horizon, Evelyn and Jason continued their work. Colonies were reinforced, fleets trained, and systems connected. Humans did not seek conflict, but they were ready for it. They did not beg for peace, but they could defend it. Lyra Nox returned to the council, shaken and thoughtful. Her mission had failed, but she had learned more than anyone anticipated. Humans were not reckless, not arrogant, not weak. They were strong, intelligent, and principled. And their refusal of treaties was not defiance, it was a warning. Across the galaxy, the council felt the first real sparks of panic. Humanity had refused every treaty, every agreement, every offer. And now the galaxy had to decide how to deal with a species that would not bend, would not yield, and would not be controlled. And humanity waited, calm, prepared, and unshakable. The Galactic Council was in chaos. Delegates from hundreds of worlds argued day and night. Some demanded immediate action against humanity. Some wanted a careful approach. The council chamber, once orderly, now buzzed with fear, whispers, and anger. Humanity's refusal to sign a single treaty had shaken them to the core. Kalen Thrix, the Zirath ambassador, stood at the front, his three eyes focused and weary. He had studied humans for years, yet they still surprised him. Their calm defiance was unlike anything he had ever faced. They did not beg. They did not plead. They refused, and they stood tall while doing it. "They are expanding faster than we can track," Kalen said. "Their fleets patrol sectors we considered neutral. Their colonies grow stronger by the day, and still they refuse to respond to our demands. Every treaty, every offer, every warning, they ignore them all." A Vornari delegate hissed angrily. "Then we must strike. We cannot allow a single species to defy hundreds of others. They will grow too strong. They will not obey our rules. We must act before it is too late." Drin Velor, the council historian, shook his head. "Strike? You do not understand. Humans do not act like other species. Every attempt to intimidate them only makes them stronger. Every threat only teaches them. If you attack them, you will learn why humans survive. You may not survive the lesson. Whispers ran through the room. Even the most confident delegates felt the unease Drin described. Humanity had a reputation for resilience, but now, seeing it in action, it terrified them. Meanwhile, in Earth's orbit, Evelyn Hart and Colonel Jason Ward oversaw the fleet. Their ships moved with quiet precision. Every formation was perfect, every system monitored. Humans were not afraid of the Council's fleets gathering near their colonies. They were ready. Jason spoke to Evelyn, his tone calm but firm. They are panicking. They do not understand us. That is their weakness, Evelyn nodded. They fear what they do not control. They fear our independence. They think fear will make us bend. But humans do not bend. Humans do not yield. And humans do not forget. Reports arrived from human colonies. Each colony had strengthened defenses and upgraded communication networks. Supply lines were secured. Soldiers trained continuously. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, improving technology. Every move was measured, every action deliberate. Humanity did not rush blindly. They prepared methodically. Back in the council chambers, debate grew more intense. Some delegates called for preemptive strikes. Others warned that attacking humans would be disastrous. They are not weak, one alien said. They have survived disasters that should have destroyed them. They have grown stronger after every challenge. They adapt faster than we can predict, and they do not fear us, Kalen Thrick sighed. Then what do? We cannot ignore them. We cannot force them. And yet they continue to grow. Every colony, every fleet, every action, they learn faster than we can react. Across the galaxy, other species took notice. Trade slowed, fleets repositioned. Governors in distant systems reported unusual human activity. Fleets moving silently, colonies fortifying, communications rerouted. Rumors spread humanity was preparing for something. No one knew exactly what, but the galaxy felt it. Evelyn and Jason reviewed the reports. They are watching us, Evelyn said. They think silence will scare us. Isolation will break us. But they forget who humans are. Humans endure. Humans adapt. Humans survive. Jason nodded. And they will learn soon enough. If they try to control us, they will see why humans do not bow. The council's panic grew. The Zirath suggested sending an ultimatum, demanding compliance within weeks or threatening direct action. Some delegates argued for sanctions, cutting off trade and communication. Others argued for strikes on isolated colonies. But fear dominated every discussion. Drin Velor spoke carefully. You cannot predict humans. You cannot control them. You can only study them. Every threat teaches them. Every action against them makes them stronger. Be cautious. They are extraordinary. Do not underestimate them. Kalen Thrix rubbed his temples. Caution may not be enough. They refuse every treaty, every agreement. They grow stronger each day. And yet they do not act aggressively. They wait, they prepare, and they do not fear us. That is what terrifies me. Meanwhile, Lyra Knox returned to Earth's orbit. She had been sent to observe human activity again. She watched as fleets moved with precision, colonies expanded, and communication networks strengthened. Humans did not seek war, but they were ready for anything. They are not reckless, Lyra said quietly to Evelyn. They are prepared and calm. I have never seen anything like it. Evelyn smiled faintly. Humans survive. Humans endure. That is what you see. And that is why the Council fears us. Not because we seek war. Because we will not bow. Jason joined them. They fear what they cannot control. And they do not understand what it means to be human. That is their weakness. On Orion Prime, panic continued to spread. Delegates whispered of human fleets, of colonies moving into restricted sectors, and of humans refusing every treaty. Some proposed a massive strike. Others argued that any attack would lead to disaster. Fear and uncertainty dominated every discussion. Kalen Thrix finally stood. We must act carefully. Every move we make will be observed. Every mistake will be exploited. Humanity is not weak. They do not fear consequences. And they will survive challenges that would destroy others. We must plan carefully. Drin Velor nodded. They are extraordinary. Every treaty you have offered them has failed. Every warning has failed, and yet they grow stronger. If we act hastily, we may regret it. But if we wait, They will continue to expand. They may become unstoppable. Across the galaxy, humans continued their work. Colonies reinforced defenses, fleets trained tirelessly, and communication networks linked every world. Humanity did not seek conflict. They did not prepare for aggression. They prepared for survival. Evelyn walked among the engineers on Horizon. They think they can scare us. They think isolation or threats will make us bend. But humans do not bend. Humans do not yield. Humans endure, and humans will show the galaxy that freedom is not negotiable. Jason joined her, watching the stars. They underestimate us. They fear what they do not understand, and they will learn the hard way. If they force us, they will see why humans survive. Back on Orion Prime, the council debated late into the night. Panic spread like wildfire. Some delegates whispered, "They cannot be controlled. We may have underestimated them. We must be careful." Others said, "We must act now before it is too late." Kalen Thrix finally spoke, his voice quiet but firm. "We face a species unlike any other. They do not negotiate. They do not fear. And they do not submit. Every step we take will be observed, every action noted. We cannot predict them. We cannot control them, and we cannot afford to ignore them. We must prepare for the worst because humanity does not bend. Humanity does not yield, and humanity will survive." Evelyn and Jason prepared the fleet. Colonies were reinforced. Supplies were secured. Every soldier, every pilot, every engineer knew their role. Humanity was ready for whatever might come, and across the galaxy panic spread. Humanity had refused every treaty, every agreement, every demand. They did not seek war, but they would not bow. The council could plan, threaten, and prepare, but they could not predict humans. The stage was set. Humanity waited, calm and deliberate. The galaxy had underestimated them, and soon it would learn why humans survive. And in the quiet darkness of space, fleets moved silently, colonies fortified, and humans prepared for whatever the galaxy might send their way. Every move, every action, every choice reminded the council of the same truth. Humans do not bend. Humans do not yield. Humans endure. The galaxy was on edge. News of human expansion and their refusal to accept any treaty had spread to every sector. Fleets from hundreds of worlds moved cautiously, trying to understand what humans were doing. The Galactic Council met in emergency session, but fear and uncertainty clouded every discussion. Some wanted war. Some wanted diplomacy. Few knew what to do. On Horizon, the human space station in Earth orbit, Evelyn Hart and Colonel Jason Ward watched the activity through the observation windows. Ships moved below in perfect formations. Communication networks hummed and every system was monitored. Humans did not panic. Humans did not rush. Humans prepared. Jason turned to Evelyn. "They are gathering forces, but they do not understand us." "That is their weakness," Evelyn nodded. "They think fear can bend us. They think threats can control us. They forget that humans endure. They forget that humans adapt. They forget that humans survive." Below them, fleets of human-built ships glided silently, each one equipped with advanced defenses and weapons designed for both offense and survival. Humanity had not sought war, but they were ready for it. Every fleet was a lesson in efficiency, resilience, and intelligence. Meanwhile, in the council chambers on Orion Prime, delegates argued fiercely. Some called for a show of force, believing humans could be intimidated. Others warned against any rash action, citing humans' history of survival and adaptability. Kalen Thrix stood at the head of the chamber, his three eyes scanning the delegates. "We face a species unlike any other," he said. "They do not negotiate. They do not fear. And they do not submit. Every treaty we offered has failed. Every warning has been ignored. And yet they grow stronger. We cannot predict them. We cannot control them. And we cannot afford to ignore them." Drin Veller, the council historian, nodded. "If we act without caution, we risk disaster. Humans have survived countless catastrophes. They rebuild, adapt, and endure. They do not fight recklessly, but when necessary, they strike with precision and strategy. We must respect them or pay the price." Across the galaxy, spies and observers reported strange activity. Human colonies moved supplies quietly, reinforced defenses, and coordinated fleets across vast distances. Diplomats from other species noted the calm confidence of the humans. Every movement was deliberate, every choice measured. Humans did not seek confrontation, but they were prepared for it. Lyra Knox returned to the council to report again. They are not afraid. They do not beg. They do not negotiate when it comes to freedom. And they are ready for anything. We cannot scare them. We cannot trick them. We can only observe and learn. Some delegates were furious. Then we strike, they demanded. We cannot allow a single species to defy hundreds of others. We must act before they grow too strong. Kalen Thrix raised his hands. Strike and you risk disaster. Humans do not act like others. Every attack will teach them. Every threat will only make them stronger. They are not reckless. They are deliberate. They are prepared. And they do not fear us. That is why they are dangerous. Meanwhile, on Horizon, Evelyn and Jason prepared their fleet for the inevitable. They did not seek war, but they knew the Council might not stop at words. Humanity had survived disasters worse than anything the Council could throw at them. They had faced plagues, environmental collapse, and wars that destroyed billions. They would survive the Council too. Jason spoke to Evelyn quietly. They will learn soon enough. They cannot control us. They cannot break us. They cannot predict us. And they will see why humans endure. Evelyn nodded. We do not need to strike first. We only need to be ready. When they act, we act. When they challenge us, we respond. And they will learn that freedom is not negotiable. Humanity will not bow. Back on Orion Prime, panic reached its peak. Some delegates proposed an ultimatum: submit or face total isolation. Others proposed strikes on human colonies. Yet no one could predict human response. Even their most advanced spies admitted that humans were unlike any species in the galaxy. Drin Velor whispered to Kalen Thrix, they do not act recklessly. They wait, they prepare, and when the time comes, they strike with purpose. We have studied them for centuries, and we still cannot predict them. That is why the Council fears them. Kalen nodded slowly. Then we must act carefully. Every move must be calculated. And yet I fear it may be too late. Humans do not negotiate. Humans do not bend. Humans endure, and we cannot stop them. In Earth orbit, the human fleet continued exercises. Ships moved in coordinated patterns, training for defense, communication, and coordination across vast distances. Colonies reinforced defenses and supply lines were secured. Humanity was ready for whatever the Council or any other species might attempt. Evelyn walked through the command center. Engineers, pilots, and soldiers worked efficiently, quietly, without panic. Every person knew their role, and every role was vital. Humans did not rely on fear to motivate them. They relied on discipline, intelligence, and courage. Jason joined her. They think they can intimidate us. They think force will make us bend. But humans do not bend. Humans do not yield. Humans survive. And when necessary, humans fight with precision and unity. Reports came from the outer sectors. Fleets from Council species approached human colonies. But rather than attacking, the humans observed and adapted. Communication networks remained secure. Defense systems were ready. Human scouts monitored alien movements carefully. Every action was deliberate, every choice strategic. The Council realized they had miscalculated. Humanity was not a species to control. Humanity was not a species to intimidate. They could threaten, they could isolate, but humans would endure. They would adapt. They would survive. On Orion Prime, Kalen Thrix addressed the Council. We cannot control them. We cannot predict them. Every threat only teaches them. Every attempt to intimidate them strengthens them. We must change our approach. We cannot bend humanity to our will. We must respect their independence or face consequences we cannot foresee. Drin Velor nodded. They refuse every treaty not out of foolishness, not out of arrogance, but because they act on principle. They survive because they adapt. They endure because they do not fear, and they will continue to grow stronger. The galaxy must accept this fact. Evelyn and Jason prepared for the next move. They did not seek war, but they knew the Council might try something. Humans had survived catastrophes, natural and man-made. They had rebuilt civilizations, fought plagues, and endured disasters. They were ready for anything. Jason turned to Evelyn. Let them try to challenge us. Every move they make teaches them what humans are capable of. But we are ready, and when they act, they will see why humans survive. Evelyn smiled faintly. The galaxy has underestimated us. They feared control would bend us. They feared treaties would chain us. They thought threats could scare us. But humans endure. Humans adapt, humans survive, and humans will never bow. The Council finally realized the truth. Humans could not be controlled. Humans could not be intimidated. Humans would survive. They would not fight unless necessary, but they would defend themselves with precision, intelligence, and courage. Across the galaxy, fleets watched human activity, noting the calm confidence, the strategic planning, and the discipline. Humans were not reckless. They were ready. They were deliberate. They were unstoppable, not because they sought war, but because they refused to bend. Evelyn addressed the fleet. Prepare for anything, but remember this: we do not seek war. We do not beg for peace. We will endure, we will adapt, and we will survive. The galaxy may not understand us, but it will respect us. Not through fear, not through control, but through our strength, our unity, and our courage, Jason added. They will try to predict us, to intimidate us, to control us. Let them try. They will fail. Humans do not bend. Humans do not yield. And humans will survive. In the council chambers, Kalen Thrix and Drinvelor spoke quietly. We miscalculated, Kalen said. We thought treaties and threats could control them. But we cannot control them. We can only observe and hope they choose peace. Drinvelor nodded. And they will. But only on their terms. The galaxy must learn that humans are not like other species. They are resilient, intelligent, principled, and unyielding, and we must respect that, or risk disaster. The human fleet remained in orbit, ready but calm. Colonies were secure. Communication networks linked every world. Humans did not seek confrontation, but they were prepared for it. Every action was deliberate, every move calculated. The council might panic, fleets might gather, threats might be issued. But humans endured. Humans adapted. Humans survived. The galaxy had learned a lesson long overdue. Humans could not be controlled. Humans could not be intimidated. And humans would survive no matter the challenge. And in the quiet darkness of space, as fleets moved and colonies prepared, humanity waited. Calm, deliberate, and unshakable. The galaxy could panic, it could plan, it could threaten. But humans would endure. Humans would adapt. Humans would survive. Freedom had been asserted. Independence maintained. And the council learned a truth it could not ignore. A species that refuses every treaty, that stands on principle, and that endures against all odds cannot be controlled, cannot be intimidated, and will always survive. The stars shone over Earth's fleet, over human colonies, and over the vast expanse of the galaxy, and humanity waited, ready for whatever came next, calm, strong, unyielding.